Greetings, I present to you the SMK, the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope, on CFRU 93.3 FM in Guelph, Ontario, through the web on CFRU.ca, and syndicating across Canada. I am your guardian overseer, Nicholas Cooper. We will be looking inward and beyond along the branches of progressive, fusion, and alternative genres, an anomaly in 1516 time, and other unique discoveries near and far, and of course, there'll be sport. Join me as we gaze into the audible lens out at the diverse musical landscape on the ever-changing horizon.
Flutoid Records presents.
Stop talking, just go.
All right. All right. All good? Good. Okay. Greetings to you all. For this, an audience far from the observational tower, brand new. And look who we have here. Why don't you introduce yourself to our good centuries?
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul. In this episode, I'll be here as Astrolope. That's my solo project. I'm also a member of Wax Limbs and Other Families and stuff as a drummer. But yeah, I'm Paul. Hi.
Hey, Paul. It's very nice to have you here this evening. It's actually pretty nice. It's been a few months, actually, since I've had a new audience recording or conducting one. It all took place before the summer, and it's now very nice to start some new ones with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is going to be really fun.
Yes, it will. So let me start off by saying congratulations on your newly released album called 90 Degree Angel. That's just been released.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's I'm glad to have it out there now. I've been sitting on it for way too long. So yeah, it's good.
For how long, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, some of the tracks have been done for a couple years now. Yeah, I just looked back on my YouTube channel and I found like old versions of some of the tracks. And of course, some of the songs I just finished like a month or two ago. But it every time when you make a full length album, by the time it comes out, it feels like you're a totally different person already. But my experience is that like once I have enough material backed up in the backlog, it's hard to keep writing new stuff, and you start to feel kind of like antsy because you're not writing any new music. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but I start to get kind of anxious if I have too much music in the backlog. So just get it out there.
You just want your music to be heard and to finally release it into the wild.
Yeah. If a tree falls in a forest and no one hears it, it doesn't make a sound. And if I sit here and make an album and don't release it, it's not an album.
It's just in the material ether.
It's just bytes and bits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, in this day and age, it is pretty much that.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, you are a member of two extraordinary bands, Other Families and Wax Limbs. Jesse Minot being leader of Other Families, who was the first audience Far From feature. But now we get the focus all on you and your music this time around. So before we get into the thick of the more musical facet of this session, I've been asking artists during these interviews, these Far From interviews, how have you been handling the COVID-19 pandemic, which has now been, it's over a year in, and it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. So how have you been handling it, Paul?
I mean, for my life, it's not that big of a deal, really. Could be worse. I'm lucky enough that I wasn't like in a vulnerable position before any of this happened. I've set up a nice little studio here. I can sit down and do whatever I want. My job wasn't affected at all. I just did the job normally. And I don't know, my girlfriend stayed with me for a couple months, those early months. So really, it hasn't been that much of a change in my life, but I sort of appreciate the sort of the excuse to be as introverted as you want to be. Like before, I mean, I would have sort of trouble balancing a social life and a creative life and a work life and all that. But now this is sort of naturally pared down the scope of activities, so we can get sort of deeper into whatever it is we're doing, and not thinking like, oh, I really should be at that concert right now, or I should be like, oh, I haven't seen this friend or that friend. Like, yeah, whatever. It's pandemic time. Just do whatever you want. So I see a lot of silver linings. I'm not going to complain.
I do agree on you for a few of those reasons, but I think, like personally myself, I think that's kind of turning into the opposite, because I'm an introvert myself, and it's I'm really missing now social interactions, which like even before I have kind of trouble like interacting sometimes, but now being just isolated and it's getting to my head. But I do hear
it really makes you appreciate like the people that are around and that time a lot more. Like I used to think that it wasn't, well, I didn't think it wasn't important, but now I think it's really, really important.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I guess this also, it's a test of how strong your relationships are, and being able to connect while being apart.
Yeah. Well, I still live with my family, so I never was completely an island kind of person, There's always people living here.
All right. Nice. So I guess with that, because it was just time of this recording, it was announced for Ontario, the second wave is on its way and already here pretty much. Yeah. Does that make you feel anything? Like, I guess it'll be just continuing making music?
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know. I guess I'm not the type to like think ahead that much.
You're more of the in the moment kind of guy, and like maybe day by day.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, I don't know. The first wave didn't do much to me. Second wave isn't gonna do much. As long as I don't get sick myself, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good position to be in. I know a lot of people aren't that lucky.
Yeah. So during this time, another question I've asked artists, has there been any new hobbies or skills that you've picked up during this time? Something like out of the box, separate from music?
Well, being stuck inside and everything is pretty bad physically as well. So I've been trying to do sports, of all things. I'm not really a sports kind of guy normally. Because in school I didn't want to compete with these sports guys. But now frisbee is amazing. It's the best sport. There's frisbee golf on the lakeshore, those little like chain net things, or disc golf. I guess frisbee is a trademark, but yeah. Flying discs. And also tennis. We got some tennis rackets. Been biking a lot. like sports. I would have suspected I would become a person who does sports, but I need to do them now.
Yeah, to get that exercise in, and just to keep yourself busy.
Yeah, it feels good just like going out and breaking a sweat. And that's kind of why I like drumming as well. Like sometimes if I'm sitting here making music like this, like for a long time, I don't want to do that. I want to smash that stuff over there and like break a sweat, you know?
I guess you would be. I don't know if it connects, but I think you would be good at disc or frisbee, being a drummer and being able to toss the disc.
Yeah, I used to toss my old drum heads around like a frisbee. It actually flew pretty well. Yeah, it's all in the wrist, you know? But a lot of things are like that. With tennis, you know, hitting stuff with a stick translates to a lot of sports. I'm still bad at most of them, but I don't know. It's worth doing.
Worth putting the time in right now, and yeah, just looking at new ventures.
Exactly.
Or I guess speaking of drumming now, for that, what is your musical background, and why did you choose being a drummer of all musical instruments?
Well, drums are the coolest. There's no argument about that. I guess I don't know what came first, but two things happened when I was 11, 10, 12, that kind of time. Rock Band on the Wii with the plastic drums. That was a big deal for me. I broke a lot of those drum sets, and I would tape them back together, break them again, tape them back together, find more ones at like Value Village or thrift stores, break those. And the second thing was, well, church, I guess. I was old enough to play at church. My parents are church-going people. I'm not much of a church guy nowadays, but yeah, there was a drummer there, and he was cool, but sometimes he wasn't there. And my dad played bass. My mom did backup vocals. And so one day it was like, oh, Paul can kind of play drums. That guy's not here. Paul, just get up. You've heard these songs before, right? Just get up. You'll be fine. So yeah, I was drumming in the church band once in a while since I was like 12 or so. And yeah, it just kind of escalated from there.
Oh wow, video games and church got you into music.
Those are two like complete opposite angles to get into music, but they're both very strong musical environments, I think.
Mm-hmm. I remember playing actually a Guitar Hero, more of the guitar playing stuff.
It's a great game, amazing game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess now, like I'm always like when we actually first met, I think properly at the beginning of this year before the pandemic, at Duffy's Tavern. You wanna? Yeah, it was a very exceptional concert, and it was just a great time before this all happened.
That was a great show. So much fun. Is that really the first time we met?
I believe so.
Yeah. It was like so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was a really so it was you, me, Aaron Corbett, and Sages.
Yeah.
And we were all crammed in this like this half basement back area at Duffy's in February. Yeah, I was a little sloppy, I remember, but people still seem to enjoy it.
I really didn't see the sloppiness at all.
Yeah, I tend to gloss over the slop and just power through. With drums, it's hard to play out of key. As long as you're in time, it's basically okay.
Then you also had your drum machines and all the other contraptions on stage, which I was really impressed. That you're like, I'm impressed with any artist who's able to coordinate between different machines and instruments at the same time. That's something for myself, I'm still trying to work up my own solo stuff with.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's tough with a bass clarinet. It seems like it takes a lot. Like with drums, you can play them with any one of your limbs, just one limb. And the clarinet is kind of your whole, both your hands and your lungs and that whole thing. So that leaves you with your feet. You're doing a lot with your feet. But I don't know how you would be able to juggle much more than that.
I'll figure it out.
Unless you're looping or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'm working on that as well. Trying to...
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, lots to think about, especially now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I guess another, as being a drummer, and then when we get to talking to your music, rhythm must play in a beat, plays a big part in your sonic musical universe. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think of the rhythm and beats first?
It depends. Often I do. Or I'll come up with like a melody thing that has a weird rhythmic accents to it. I don't know. Yeah, I guess rhythm is the strongest part of my musical experience. Like even before I played music, I would just listen to the rhythm and the way the beat felt. Like, I could listen to a song 100 times and not know the lyrics because I just like the beat of it. And even now, like I've learned a lot about harmony and melody and music theory and all this stuff. But I tend to just go for the basic stuff, like whatever gets the point across in the song. I'm not trying to do anything too fancy. So it's more about the feel and the impact, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would start a song with a beat maybe 50% of the time, and I like to do weird stuff. Sometimes like there's a song on the album that has, I guess it's in 15/16 time, like it's 1/16th note short from being 4/4.
Yeah,
but it sounds like it's 4/4, but it sounds like really swung and weird, but still groovy. I don't want it to sound like prog rock, math rock, or anything. But it's really fun, and it feels really good to like have these rhythmic structures that are a little bit unique. But then I run into the problem of like, oh, what genre is this? It's kind of in between a bunch of things, and Spotify doesn't like that.
Yeah, listening to hearing and listening to the album, it is a vast range of styles. I was listening to the album, and I could I have descriptions here from many different styles, but I would say I wrote here, like, it is, or eclectic electro dance rock.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would, over the umbrella term.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, but it gets more intricate than that, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to throw too many adjectives around because then you start to lose all sense of meaning. But yeah, I come from a rock background and I love electronic music. So this is my solo electronic rock band. Yeah.
Nice. So that's how you best describe your music then?
Pretty much. I mean, I describe it differently on different days, but for now, that's that's what it is.
That's the one for today.
Yeah.
Or you did mention that, like, now you know more about like melody and harmony. Was this all self-taught, or did you go to school for the music?
I went to school a little bit and I didn't learn that much. So I learned it from my bandmates who went to school. I think that's the best way to do it. Get someone else to go to school and then get them to tell you what they learned.
Do osmosis from them.
Yeah, exactly. Because you see the important stuff that they retained and the non-important stuff is not important. So you don't, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, this works for me. I'm not much of a, for me, the school traditional approach didn't really fit with my brain. So I went to school for 1 year at electroacoustics in Montreal and Concordia. And, you know, for some reason I thought that university would be easier than high school, which was not the case. I'm surprised they let me in hindsight. But I don't know, things have been working out. And yeah, I'm somewhat self-taught, somewhat taught by osmosis from better musicians, and somewhat just not taught at all, and just trial and error. So yeah.
Yeah, a combination of all of them, I guess, certainly has its merits of helping out overall.
I'm in a musical family. My dad plays the keyboard and the bass and stuff. He writes music sometimes. So, you know, he taught me some theory on the piano when I was pretty young, and I really didn't understand it. I was like, why is there, you know, this is in 3 languages. What is a treble clef? I've never heard these words. Uh-oh. Oh, thank you for choosing Zoom. There's no time limit. Okay, thanks, Zoom. That's good.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, I don't know. The you know, traditional music theory is strange because it's not. It tries to present itself like it's math, but it's not math. It's a language. It's like an artistic, made up, like imaginary numbers, like Dr. Seuss math. So I don't know. I was considering just getting like the circle of fifth like tattooed on my arm, so I wouldn't have to remember it anymore.
Well, that would have been cool.
It might look cool. I might still do it, but I could just remember the notes. I can remember enough normal things. It's just 12 notes.
I know this, like, it's like a chart of the circle of fifths that's like pretty easy, I think, to draw out. Yeah.
But does it look cool like as a tattoo?
No,
you know?
Certainly not. It looks more like a math graph.
Put it right there on your forearm. You're playing guitar, you see it. piano, you still see it just right there.
Oh, awesome.
Maybe.
I guess now, when did you introduce or been introduced to electronics and like using that in your music?
Well, that was when I got my first laptop when I was probably 15 or 14. I got a program called Audacity. It's free. It's a great program. And I downloaded some noises from the internet, like some, I don't even remember what it was, like some wind or something. And you can like slow things down 800%. I don't know if you've seen these videos on YouTube of just like pop songs slowed down 800%.
No, how do they sound like?
Sounds good. It sounds like beautiful ambient drone music and like waves crashing and weird stretchy digital artifacts. A lot of digital artifacts actually, but yeah. So that was my first kind of foray into ambient music and electronic music in general. I also had a friend. Well, my girlfriend at the time in high school, girlfriend's mom was an art professor at OCAD, and I ended up getting involved in some projects, like some weird art installation pieces where there were a bunch of like loops on a bunch of different TVs in a room, and I made sound for each of the loops. And then they all sort of played and crossed over and phased with each other. And it was this weird, trippy room. So I started out just doing completely abstract stuff because I didn't really know any theory or anything, and my computer couldn't really run anything too fancy. But through the university, I got my hands on Ableton Live, and I never looked back. Ableton is the best. So yeah, that's still my recording environment, and I record all my live instruments and virtual instruments and mixing and everything in the same software for like these past 10 years.
Well, that's nice. You found like the program that works for you, because there's lots of different DAWs out there.
Well, it seems like that's the best way to do it, is to just take the first thing that works and like use it. It doesn't, too many options can be very paralyzing, and you sort of go back to square one every time you try and learn a new piece of software.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
So maybe talk about, because you had different like hardware electronics at the Duffy's Tavern concert, and that's like a different it's in the electronic universe, but that's using something else. Why don't you?
You're asking about this, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm sorry, radio listeners, but I'm showing something pretty.
You're teasing us.
This is my. Yeah. Well, you should really watch the video. This is the Eurorack modular synth. It's a nerd box for nerds, and it's something that I integrated into my live shows recently. I still use the computer, but I also use this because it lets me like mess with the sounds directly, and it's one of those things that makes the set totally different every time. Instead of just playing back the Ableton backing tracks and making everything perfect, this is like the most imperfect, crazy, chaotic thing.
Yeah, because you have to manually change or get as close as you can to the original sound, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm not even concerned with like recreating the original sound. I just send the notes that I want into it, and I make a sound that sounds good to me in the moment. And I react to the crowd. Like, people will go like woo if I go really crazy on it, and it's like, yeah, woohoo is right.
So you take lots of inspiration from audience interactions.
Yeah, I like to, because again, I come from like the rocky background, and I want it to be like, yeah, punk, go crazy, instead of this. I feel like the default for electronic artists is to just be like too cool for school, and I'm just not that cool. I don't know if I can pull that off, really. I'd rather be like, this guy's nuts, and it sounds insane.
And it does.
That's what
It does, in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be like fun and inspiring. I don't want it to be like, wow, that guy really must have spent a long time in his room making that. I'm glad we're here in this club drinking this beer. I don't know. Like, that's good too, but for me, I want more excitement, I guess.
I hear you. Getting the energy and feeling connected with an audience and other people.
Yeah, more interactive and stuff. I used to use a different synthesizer that's less like nerdy. But this is fun because it can adapt to the way that I like to interact, because most synthesizers are very keyboard focused, and I'm not super great with the keyboard. I've learned how to get by. I can do stuff with it, but like, this has a joystick. I play video games. This is what I want to use. And my music is very video game inspired as well. So this sort of interface, it just feels right for the music. It feels more appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's something that I really like, and my future music endeavors are going to involve this a lot more. I don't know. It's a fun little universe.
All connected together. How long did it take you to make up what it is now?
Maybe a year and a half or 2 years or so. Yeah, me and one of my bandmates kind of got into this rabbit hole together. Yeah, maybe 2 years ago. And I don't know, it takes up a lot of mental energy sometimes, because it's sort of a different mindset, like,
mm-hmm.
When you're making music, you're sort of juggling between the left brain and the right brain, so to speak. And this is more of a, which brain is the more technical one? Like, is it right? I don't know.
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the Rush Hemispheres album and which ones.
Oh, of course. Yeah, well, anyways, it's the opposite of the creative one, the technical one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. But I'm a technically minded person sometimes as well. I like build stuff and fix problems. So it's good to integrate that kind of mindset into the music as well, because it adds like more depth, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we now talk about the new album, 90 Degree Angel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, what does this title have any significant meaning to it?
No, not really.
It just sounded cool. Instead of angle, it's angel.
Yeah. I don't know. I it's mostly instrumental music, so it's very like open to interpretation and everything. But like a lot of the art I like to make is very pixel art inspired, because the music is video gamey, and I like pixely stuff and chiptunes and stuff like that. So that's been part of my aesthetic for a long time. And 90 Degree Angel, I just feel like it's a nice juxtaposition. Like an angel is supposed to be like a flowy, natural, beautiful thing, and 90 Degree is kind of like severe, harsh kind of shape. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but to me that feels right. Because that's sort of how the music is as well. It's like a juxtaposition between really natural, imperfect stuff, and then like digitally locked in computery stuff.
Yeah,
So
between the analog and digital, acoustic and bit wise.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know, 90 Degree Angel, it made sense. My other work in progress title was Unplugged. You know how everyone does an unplugged album? Well, this is unplugged. It's very plugged. And it would have probably some plugs on the title album. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll do that eventually with like a pure modular album or something. But I think 90 Degree Angel feels better for this one.
And it certainly came out with a good album cover, which I think I read the press release that you have for the album, and it's a collaboration with a painter, correct?
Yeah, that's right. There was this guy at one of my, I guess it was my second to last real life live show, last December. And this guy just came up to me and he was like, "Oh, dude, I love that music so much. It was so cool." Blah, 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 blah. And we talked my ear off for a minute. He was like, "Oh, I would love to do some artwork for you. I'm an artist, and just give me your email address." So he sent me some art. He was just like, "I listened to your music, and this is what I did and stuff." It was a potted plant in a white circle with like a bunch of chaotic like splatter around it everywhere, really colorful, like bright orange and green and stuff. I was like, "Oh, all right, it looks good as a painting, but it's not for this album. I don't know." And I went without artwork for a long time, and then I ended up taking his painting and like flipping it and inverting the colors and like just using like a triangle of it and taking
the
out
90 degrees there.
Yeah, a little 90 degree symbol in the corner. So yeah, I feel bad I kind of butchered his work, but he's cool with it, and he's a very nice guy. So I made a new friend, and I got some cool art out of it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And that's the juxtaposition between like natural, chaotic, like acoustic. I want to call paint acoustic for some reason. Stuff, and then like harsh digital Photoshop on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it fits.
So for the like creative process composition wise, like this taking place over years, as you mentioned, I guess how was this album recorded over this time?
Well, a lot of it would be just me like late at night procrastinating. Like, I really should be doing something else, or like just going to bed. But like, maybe messing around with some modular stuff, a new module or something weird, and then just looping that, finding a nice sequence, and going crazy. Another thing I was doing a lot was like guitar stuff. I'm even less of a guitarist than I am anything else, really. Yeah, I don't even know where the notes are on the neck or anything like that. But I can make it make sound. And
yeah, that's the most important part.
If you have a computer, you can make any instrument. You can play any instrument because you can just play a note and then put it where it should be, and then play another note and put it there, and just sort of puzzle it together. So I've got some like epic rock guitar solos on this album, and it's it's like 4 takes put together. Just this like standard studio experimentation that I did a lot of this time around. Trying to think of any other little interesting maneuvers.
Or I should ask, like, do you play all the instruments on the album?
I play 97% of them, I would say. The other musicians that were involved are Lex Metcalf from Wax Limbs and Fela, and Jackson Welshner of Other Families, and many other projects. Lex, he wrote this one riff, or played like one other bass riff or something. And Jackson helped with some harmony. I was stuck with like a chord progression somewhere along the line. Oh, and he also did some backing vocals on the vocal track, the closer track. And
the one non-instrumental track.
Yeah, the actual vocal track. And Jackson did the trombone on that one as well. I have a trombone, but Jackson played it.
Well, I didn't know you can play trombone.
I cannot play trombone. Jackson is decent at trombone. We had to play the track at half speed and then play the part and then speed it up.
Oh, okay. So, that digital post or
that trickery,
magic.
That sneaky stuff. So I had a little help, but it's mostly Paul on there. Yeah.
Nice. So maybe we can go through some of the tracks, or maybe select few, because I think you kind of mentioned earlier, it sounds like you want more of the, or correct me if I'm wrong, sounds like you try and project like the energy or imagery from your music instead of like explicit ideas. Is that am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, I'm not very like explicit or specific about what the songs are about or anything like that. And I'm not like a very lyrically minded or linguistically minded kind of musician. So yeah, it's just nice sounds, it's just music, no big deal. Yeah.
Well, that music, as I've told you before, actually this interview, the album has a very nice progression in it. Like it is kind of like, it's the course of a concept album, but it's not really like that, if you know what I mean. It tells like a some sort of story to it without words. More of a journey.
Well, it's important that the tracks flow in a nice way, and they're not too similar from each other, but they still feel related. It's hard to strike that balance, but yeah, I think I've figured it out for this one.
Yeah, nice. So some of actually those descriptions that I said, that it ranges from different kind of styles. I have like stadium dance, post cinematic hip hop beat rock. There's industrial in there. I have a like new age trap. Prog. There's one like kind of prog or orchestral one. New wave, and then that last one, which it's called Lost for Words. It's like a space rock kind of song.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing how many.
It's fun. I mean, I just like a lot of different kinds of music, and I like learning new stuff. I don't want to just make. I don't know. I want every song to have like something new I've never done before in it, just so I can learn how to do that thing, whatever it is. So that means I sort of end up making like, oh, this song is like a funky, like Flying Lotus-ish thing, and this song is like Pink Floyd, you know?
I guess,
but of course, since my
no, you can finish.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because
well, I guess we keep overlapping. I was just thinking, like, it sort of ends up being cohesive because like my sound palette and my harmonic palette is kind of small. Like, I don't use a lot of like exotic instruments or like samples of things that I don't actually have. I like to just use what's here. So even if I do a lot of styles, it's all the same like pile of instruments that are doing it. So it all works together.
Nice. My question was going to be, because you said some artists, does a lot of the different styles come from an eclectic influences from artists? And can you name a few that really has become what your style is now?
Oh, influential artists. Okay, like I have to say, like, in terms of electronic stuff, I have to give a huge shout out to like basically all the composers in the video games I played as a kid. So Mario 64, Zelda. So I guess that's all Koji Kondo. And like some of these indie game composers, like Disaster Piece, the Fez soundtrack is incredible. And just dance music, like, you know, when I was really getting into electronic music, it was like Fortet and maybe Boards of Canada and Flying Lotus, like I said before, and John Hopkins and stuff like that. So that definitely influenced my production and like computery composing stuff. But before any of that, I was just a rock kid. I would play along to Rush records and, you know, Everlong, Foo Fighters on drums. There's still nothing better than playing that song. It's just so much fun. Yeah, in terms of my style, I don't know. It's really hard to pick apart, to self-analyze. Like, what your style is, because it's really like a series of it's like 1,000 tiny decisions every time you make a piece of music, and that's sort of unexplainable. It's like trying to explain like how an AI thinks. It just does what it does because, I don't know, it just has experience. So I don't know, I can tell you every artist I've ever listened to. I like Radiohead.
No, you don't
I
have to
like
tell us all the artists. Just
I like Venetian Snares. Do you know him? In terms of modular stuff.
Name sounds
very,
familiar, but I don't think I've listened to their music.
Venetian Snares is this crazy, I think he's Albertan or something. He just lives in this Albertan wasteland with his like blinky lights and makes this beautiful, strange stuff. That just feels really visceral and weird. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to find something that feels good to me. I want to find something that's fun. So that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, you have to do what you feel is like represents you, and live with that, and live with that.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So it's an 8-track album. Is there? It's like choosing your favorite child. Is there a favorite track that you really are passionate about?
Favorite track? I like. Well, for me, when I look back on my albums, I think my favorite tracks are always the simplest ones. You know, like the ones that have like the fewest track count, like instrument count in the project file. If it's something that has like, 70 to 90 tracks, I just by that time I'm sick of it. But so like Lost for Words is like that. It has so many vocal layers, synth layers, blah blah blah. But Silver Forest, that song is maybe 15 to 20 tracks, if that. The album version doesn't even have live drums. It's just very like pared down, and I think those tracks are really like elegant. I like that. That's the kind of thing I'm proud of, when it's just like simple, to the point, nothing flashy, nothing like too fake or too crazy. I don't know. Those are the tracks that sort of stick in my mind, or sometimes when I pull off something weird that not a lot of people have done, like the 15-16 track, which is Penta. I think it has a good atmosphere, a good melody, and a good like rhythmic structure, where it's some parts of it feel really swung, some parts feel non-rhythmic at all, and some parts feel like a polyrhythm or something, even though they're not. I don't know. That's another winner for me.
Yeah, I like Penta a lot as well.
Yeah,
and I have to listen back again for that 15-16 time rhythm.
Well, I when I play it, I think of it in 5. I think it's like 3 groups of 5, or maybe I just feel every other 16th note. I don't know. It's a hard thing to describe, but to the casual listener, it just sounds like 4, but lopsided, floppy 4. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. On this kind of album, I think everyone's gonna end up with a different favorite. Because they're all different. Whatever. We all like different stuff.
You're giving everyone a little something for them to enjoy.
Yeah, I like all the tracks. they're good enough for me.
Or else you wouldn't have put it on the album or made them
That's
in the
right.
first place.
Yeah, if the song isn't great, then I just won't finish it. Doesn't even make it that far.
Yeah, I think a few of my improvisations that I do for my bass clarinet stuff, I have some sounds that I've been able to come up with, and I haven't returned to them a lot because I just don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, it's weird, being the one who is in control of all of that, because sometimes I've had a demo and I'm on the verge of giving up on it, and then my friend will hear it and be like, dude, what are you doing? No, finish that one, that's great, that's the best song ever. So then I have to be like, fine, I'll just finish it, and then it turns out to be good. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad. I wonder how many songs I've abandoned that I really should have just kept going. But also sometimes I've kept going way too long and still abandoned it. So I don't know. It's a weird balance that everyone has to find their own way of figuring out when to cut your losses or when to power through.
Yeah, difficult. One of the difficult parts of composition.
One of many.
So this album is actually being released on a label. Well, I guess it's an indie label. Plutoid Records.
That's right.
You want to talk to us about Plutoid and how it came to be?
Well, Plutoid originally started 5 years ago, 2015. Me and my buddy were shopping some material around to some labels, and they didn't pick it up or anything. And we were like, you know what? You guys don't even know what's cool. We know what's cool, and we're going to start our own label with blackjack and hookers or whatever, So we started our own label. We made a website. I didn't really know what a label did or what it was back then, but we started it. I still don't really know, but we're doing our own thing. So we put on a bunch of shows and all that. It's a very tight-knit thing. It's just our friends. We don't have we're not signing artists from Brazil or Portugal or anything. Or other countries. It's not just against Portuguese-speaking countries. It's just local stuff. And I don't know. We have this space. It's like an all-purpose art music space. It's the garage, if you must know. And we film performances in there. We do photo sessions and recording sessions, jam sessions, rehearsals, all the label stuff that we need to do. So that's basically what Plutoid is at this point. We thought it would be cool to say we're signed to a label. Maybe people take us seriously if we have a label or something. And it's a little community effort. And I don't know. It's a humble little thing. I just thought, we're putting out records anyways. Let's put it all under one little roof and have it there for the world to see. plutoidrecords.com.ca. It's just plutoid.ca, by the way. We actually have a website.
So it's more, I think I read, is it more catered to electronic artists?
Yeah. It's catered to stuff we like, which is electronic generally. But not necessarily. like our buddy Will Jarvis, he plays like soulful rock. Like he's got a beautiful voice, and he comes up with this nice guitar-y stuff. So I wouldn't say it's electronic, really. It's not like synth music or dance music. But you know, he's on there. We got all kinds of stuff. It's just our friends. It's not related to like maybe if we were trying to market stuff effectively, we would define a genre. But right now, it's just Plutoid, whatever.
Yeah, just have the family connection together.
Yeah, it's just cool stuff that our friends do. So, yeah, that's the idea.
So, I think it sounded like you haven't always been based in Toronto, or have you been living in Toronto for a long time?
I was born here. I've lived here for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I just went to Montreal for like less than a year. But yeah, this is my place. This is my home. Toronto. I haven't even really been to that many other places. I've been to Europe, and earlier this year, me and my girlfriend went to Colombia. That was my first time like in South America. It was really crazy. It's like a whole different universe.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, so beautiful and crazy, and like the people were so nice and so, I don't know, it's a different culture, and I would have to, like, if I were to live anywhere else, I would have to rewire my whole brain. I could barely handle living in Montreal because like the people there didn't like to speak English even though they could. So I would just like that's even that is out of my comfort zone. Excuse me. But anyways, yeah, I'm a Toronto kid. My mom is from Holland. I love the Dutch. If I couldn't live in Canada, I would go there, I think. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So how have you been finding the Toronto music scene? I guess especially for your kind of music.
The Toronto music scene. The people are good. The bands are good. Everything is good. But we live in a society. Capitalism is something that exists, and we have to contend with it. Especially in Toronto, like things are expensive. You can't have a venue. Right now, you really can't have a venue, but even otherwise, you couldn't. I mean, artists can't live here without like being whatever else they are that they don't want to be. So like the art is good. I just want more. Wish there was more of it and less things that got in the way. So I don't know what the solution to that is. Well, I guess I do, but I don't.
Yeah, how to make that get that more support.
I'm not just gonna sit here in my pajamas and be like, "Revolution! Make a revolution! Go! Everyone else do it, please." Yeah, I mean, so Toronto is good. I've been here long enough that I know enough people that I can be part of a scene. Instead of, in Montreal where I had to start from scratch. But I was in school, so I knew people. It was fine. I don't know. I guess I have nothing really to compare it to. But the people I know here are my best buds. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you guys. That's what I have to say about that.
I guess speaking of support, I guess it's come up in the last few years, blended industries.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of this kind of new community that has come about?
Yeah, it's a really great community project. I don't know what your listeners know about it because you probably talked about it before. But this is like Tyson's community internet, like Tyson's little corner of the internet where, you know, we promote each other's bands and we all hang out and have a great time and, like, you know, write stuff about our band's music, and like it's just a weird little corner. So like I think things like that are really important, because when you're a solo musician and you're releasing something, you send stuff to 100, 200 blogs, and they don't listen. They don't, even if they do, even if they post it, no one reads the blog anyways. So it's, yeah. But with Splendid, well, maybe people from outside of Toronto are not reading the blog, but I can just write on the blog. I asked Tyson, can I write stuff on there? And he was like, yeah, now you're an admin. There you go. Write your own blog posts. So like it's just it's like a breath of fresh air instead of like dealing with the music industry at large. It's just like, oh, there's Splendid Industries over there, and it's friendly. And it's weird and DIY and indie, and that's a more comfortable environment to contend with, instead of like trying to run ads on Instagram or something. It's icky, you know?
Yeah, comfortable is I think an excellent word to describe Splendid Industries. Just then the connection as well, because a lot of the music I play on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope are from Splendid Industries. Everyone connects on, like, it's different styles of music, but they connect in some way, in a special way.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, everyone's open-minded. We all like a lot of different kinds of music. So, you know, it doesn't matter if things sound different from other things. It's all interrelated. So yeah, it's just nice to have a really cozy little spot. Splendid Industries, you know, there's videos and words and music. It's just, yeah, it's great.
And it looks like you're cozying up as well right now.
I'm real cozy. I mean, I got rained on. That's why I'm in my pajamas early. But I mean, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
These days, especially.
Yeah. So actually, I guess, why don't we start wrapping up our talk together now? Now with 90 Degree Angel released, what do you have planned going forward to, I guess, help promote the album and, I guess, looking into the future?
Well, like I said before, I'm not too much of a planner, but I do have some stuff. The other day we filmed a full live performance of the whole album all the way through in the Plutoid official studio soundstage garage. And yeah, that's going to be out. That's out by the time you're listening to it. It's out. And so that's a big thing. It's like a whole new sort of version of the album. You know, it's got some like extended spaces, sort of interlude transitions, and, you know, crazier drumming, crazier synths, and yeah, just like taking it up a notch. So that's something I'm pretty excited about. It's better than like piecing a music video together out of some like old NASA footage or whatever it was I was trying to do. So yeah, there's that. And I don't know, I'm not too like fussy about promoting the release after it's out. I feel like once it's out, then the job is done. I know like some people are still like trying to send traffic around like 2 months after the album is out. But at that point, I'd rather be looking forward or just get my head down and into the weeds once again, you know?
Mm-hmm. When or where is that live take of the album going to be shown?
That is on my YouTube channel, Loud Paul. Loud Paul is where I put just all that weird stuff, that YouTube stuff. I spend too much time watching YouTube videos. You know, this nerdy YouTube synthesizer stuff, or like I've seen like speed runs of video games where the person is using electronic drums instead of a controller. And I figured, you know, like I maybe I should contribute to this if I'm spending so much time watching it. So yeah, Loud Paul. It's got some concerts on there. It's got some nerd stuff, like tutorial-ish stuff, or like just how to do what I'm doing. It's got just musical performances. It's just a grab bag of random crap from me, your host, Loud Paul.
I should definitely check that out then.
Yeah,
I should also be checking that out. And
it's
I guess
a buffet of random music stuff.
And I guess as well as that is that do you want to tell us where we can find your music and social medias?
All right. Well, my artist name is Astrolope. It's Astrolope on every social media platform, and they're all linked together. If you find one, you'll find them all. Just search on Google Astrolope. You know, like in the title of the thing, and it's not Astrolope chickens. That's a species of chicken. Thanks, Google. Thanks for autocorrecting me. That's great, but it's not that. Astrolope. Yeah.
One more question, Paul.
Right.
What are your words of wisdom that you would like to bestow upon us?
I'm flattered that you think I'm wise in any regard. I mean, I don't know if I have the right to like give anybody else advice, because I really feel like I should be on the receiving end of any advice. But I in this moment, I have to say, like, don't let life get you down. Don't take yourself or anything else too seriously. Don't give too many. Just give the right amount of. Oh, this is the radio. Excuse me.
Don't worry, I'll edit it out.
Yeah, can you give me a bleep, like a 1 kilohertz sine beep? Don't give too many. Don't give too many. Don't give too many dams. I don't know if you have to bleep the dam or not. Just reserve your dams for the perfect thing, and don't waste them. And what did Jesse say? He was like, "Don't stay off those chemical drugs. Keep the drugs natural. Just good drugs, no bad ones."
That's very nice words to say. I will do those 1 kilohertz bleeps for that. But
I think that's good advice. I don't know if it's very wise. I'm not a shaman or anything, but that's what you're getting.
Well, most simple words can be the wisest.
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Paul, thank you for this time with me to discuss your music and in yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. This was really fun. Yeah. We'll talk again soon. Best of luck with the rest of the shows, and keep on rocking in the free world.
Yeah, thank you.